Good evening, everyone. It is August 7th, 2023, and let's start off on the ES over here. I'm having some issues with TradingView, so some of the charts might be a little bit different today. Now, what did we have? Well, today was not only an open inside of RTH value from Friday, but also inside of Globex's value after liquidation session on a Monday in August. So we were setting up for a pretty boring Monday session, and I'd mentioned to some friends that what I was ideally looking for was some sort of peak below the prior week's low to get long. Uh, Unfortunately, on the NQ, just missed that. I think I was bid at the IB low, so this number over here, 357s, and I was not getting filled here, and it rallied off. On the ES, I was also I was bid here at 10s, 10 half, and did not get filled there. And instead, took a stop out off of I think 18s or something. The open, anyway. So not only did we just have an inside day, the entire day traded inside the value area on the ES. So we've had a sort of inside day and inside value session. So ranges are compressing, in other words. So what I would look for moving forward is a larger, expansive day for tomorrow, for Tuesday. So something else that was important to note was that ES managed to spend pretty much the entire day above its open. It had that morning flush downwards. Maybe I'll show you guys this without any of the stuff on it. Let's throw in a 5-minute chart. It ran the overnight high here, right? We ran this overnight high, and then it had a flush down to here. And then for pretty much the rest of the day, we stayed above this open here at 18. We pretty much stayed above it, and then we had this nice squeeze into 40. That's what I was looking for. At the end, I was saying that with such a tight initial balance, I was looking for us to stretch this out to 40. It just took a very long time, and part of the reason behind that was because the NQ was being so weak. The NQ, unlike ES, managed to break last week's low. It reclaimed it. That's where I was trying to get long. But it spent pretty much the entire day below its open. There's the open right there, 434, and you can see it really struggled to break it, turned around it, and barely got the pop higher, only getting to this auction over here. So overall, the NQ remains quite weak relative to ES, in my opinion, uh, and really weighing this thing down. Now, to me, and I mentioned this in the weekly outlook video, was that I was going to be short biased until we trade 44.85. And that's still the case. I'm still short biased. To me, this just felt like a post liquidation, lazy, slow Monday in August with no news. That's what this felt like today. It just felt like covering. No actual meaningful bids showed up, in my opinion. So what I'm going to be looking for is, can the overnight get into this gray box? Can we get into kind of 45, 45-ish, put in an overnight high somewhere around there, and then can we open somewhere below, let's call it 36. Let's show you what I mean here. 45.45 is our key number here. You can see it something like this. All right? So if we put an overnight high somewhere here, and we open somewhere below this 36 number, we have this excess above. In my opinion, you'll have the shorts who have reloaded, and then we can slam this thing down lower. So that is going to be, and sorry, this is going to be a really ugly video. You got all these black lines here. Maybe you can't see them, hopefully not. I'm actually not interested in all of these. I'm interested in this guy. Maybe I'll just copy and paste them over. When I have been, it's been showing up on this chart, which I don't like. So I'm interested in this right here, getting short at this high over here, if the overnight high is somewhere above 45, because in my opinion, that's the number that shorts need to hold us down below. Below there, I think you may have a long setup at 26.5. This is where where a clear pivot formed. That's the monthly halfback from July. You have the VWAP close and point of control from today, both at 25-ish, 25 half, 25 quarter. So perhaps a tag of that and then go higher. That would be the upside scenario. Below, and really, I'm not too interested. I know 10s are a level. I know, 05s are Thursday's low over here. Or sorry, where would it be? The RTH low. It's back here somewhere. There we go, over here. I'm aware of these levels, but honestly, I think you're instead looking at a heavier sell, and really, I don't think you want to be long until something like this, until O2s, until we close that lower gap down at 78s. So that's how I'm looking at this thing. Above, and I think you got to start being careful with the short side as well. I think it's not easy to be short. If I was looking for a short, it'd be somewhere around here, somewhere around 44, maybe 50s, right? After a tag of settlement highs or whatever that is. After a tag of, what is that, 54 half, the weekly VWAP close from last week. And if you start coming up to here, up to these 61s, I really think that's your last shot for shorts. Above there, and you start squeezing. So that's the area I'm interested in on the ES. Gap close longs, more or less, waiting for the gap close, getting long at that balance. O2s, the 95% weekly value area low from last week. 36s, this high, if we put an overnight high somewhere around here. Otherwise, I'm looking at short, mostly at around 45 and 50. And once you start playing with a 61 number, I think you're just opening yourself up to the gap and higher. NQ, not too dissimilar. I think you have a huge zone to try and get short on this thing. I'll do the same thing here. Let me just copy and paste this over. You can see, there you go, no fill there. Break even, break even. Unfortunate. Let's get into the actual trades I'm looking at for this thing tomorrow. Here is one. So what I would like to be doing is getting short at this weekly open number, and that is going to be after the IV is set. So if we have an initial balance that's somewhere like this, if the initial balance low breaks, I'll be looking at short against the initial balance high somewhere here. Below there, this is not really changing for me. This is the same setup as before, getting long upon the gap close at that balance. Below there, getting long around that high of the gap close at 280. Below there, 239s. Below there, 183s. Below there, I don't think I'm too interested in trading. Above 433s, I like the idea of getting short somewhere around 523s after a tag of that auction at 547s over here. And this one right here, getting a short 551s. Let me just see what that is on another chart. Don't actually have that listed as anything, but getting short there after a tag of the point of control from this Friday session, from this Friday liquidation session. Above there, I think once again, you're flirting with the idea of a squeeze scenario or getting into that gap. And really, I'm not too interested in getting short until something like this, way up at 730s. So that's how I'm looking at it coming into tomorrow. I think you're going to have a expansive day, kind of the opposite of today's groggy, slow action. Still no news or anything. That's CPI coming out on Wednesday, I think, and PPI on Friday, something like that. I think overall that I'm still leaning to the downside, leaning towards those gaps being closed on both the ES and NQ. I'll remain short biased until then. Have a great night. Trade safe.